I'm from New York.
Chairman, I give myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, the issue of chemical plant security is obviously a very vital one. It's one that has to be addressed. It's an issue which certainly since September 11th is more vital than ever. That is why in 2006, the Homeland Security Committee, when I was chairman, working across the aisle, worked long and hard to enact landmark legislation. There was much negotiation, there was much debate. We covered issues such as preemption and inherently safer technology. Legislation was put in place, and that is the basis upon which the Department has been acting for the past 3 years. And this legislation that we enacted then is in the process of being implemented by the Department of Homeland Security. In fact, the Department itself asked that this bill have a one-year extension. They asked for a one-year extension, and that was voted on in the appropriations bill last month, which I strongly supported. As far as I know, the administration has not asked for this legislation, and I'm not aware of any statement of support that they've sent up in support of it. But before I get to that, let me just commend the chairman, Mr. Thompson, the chair of the subcommittee, Ms. Jackson Lee, and the ranking member of the subcommittee, Mr. Dent, because even though we are going to have differences during this debate today, I want to emphasize the fact that this was done very fairly, very openly, with tremendous spirit of cooperation from your side of the aisle, and I hope from ours as well. So this is the differences today are very honest ones, but I want to emphasize the level of cooperation that existed throughout this process. I am, however, opposed to the legislation because I believe it is going to create confusion and undue cost. It's going to cost jobs, and it's going to raise taxes. It gives far too much credibility to IST, or inherently safer technology, which is a concept. Yet this concept will have, I believe, a very stifling effect on the private sector. We should keep in mind that we're not just talking about large chemical plant facilities. We're also talking about institutions such as colleges and hospitals, which will have to incur these costs. The current law is working, and I asked the chairman this during the time of the debate when it was in the committee, what is the rush to move it through? And when I say rush, obviously if something had to be done, we should do it immediately. We should do it yesterday. But the fact is that the department did not ask for this extension, did not ask for these changes, and I believe that we took a good concept, an admirable concept of enhancing chemical plant security, and have allowed concepts and ideas regarding the environment, regarding certain pet projects, and allow that to, I believe, have too large influence on this bill. There's another aspect of this bill which has been added, and that's the concept of civil lawsuits against the department. And I know Mr. McCall in the debate later is going to offer an amendment on this issue, but any fair reading of the testimony of the department, excuse me, at the hearing we held on this legislation made it clear that they did not support this language regarding the civil lawsuits. Quite frankly, with all the work the Department of Homeland Security has to do, with the difficulty there is in bringing all of these thousands of entities into compliance with the law, I believe the last thing they need right now is to be subjected to civil lawsuits, with there virtually being no limitations on who can bring those lawsuits. My understanding is a person doesn't even have to be a citizen to bring a lawsuit under this or live in the state where the facility is located. So, Mr. Chairman, this is a bridge too far. This is a rush to judgment. Rather than work with the carefully crafted and thought-out legislation that we adopted in a bipartisan way 3 years ago, we are now changing it, and changing it again without a request from the Obama administration. We have language in this legislation which was clear the administration opposed at the time of the debate on the bill when it was before the committee. And so I really strongly urge, reluctantly, that the legislation be voted down. But in doing that, let me also say, Mr. Speaker, that there are a large number of organizations opposed to this legislation, such as the American Farm Bureau, the Chamber of Commerce, American Truckers Association, and I would ask unanimous consent to place into the record the letter which was sent by a group of these organizations in opposition to the legislation H.R. 2868.
That will be covered under general leave.
Mr. Chairman, let me just conclude. And by the way, I will be asking Mr. Dent to manage the balance of the time on our side. And I would ask those on the other side to go easy on Mr. Dent. He's suffering from trauma. His team, the Phillies, after being lucky last year, have gone back to their usual ways, and they were defeated last night. And I give him credit for coming out of his bed, coming out from underneath the covers to be here today to take part in this debate. So go easy. Especially I would ask the gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Pascrell, who has a talent for going for the jugular. You can do it to me, but please go easy on Mr. Dent today, if you would. Mr. Chairman, and I'm sure the Chairman concurs in the sympathy we feel for the gentleman from Pennsylvania. Mr. Chairman, on a serious note, we started work on this legislation in good faith. That good faith continues, but I strongly believe, and others on our side do, that the extreme environmental language in the bill is going to tie the hands of the Homeland Security Secretary with unrelated, costly, and burdensome provisions. Congress has granted the President's request for a one-year extension. We should let the Department of Homeland Security continue its work. I believe that moving this legislation forward will hurt the Department, will hurt small businesses, and will not improve the security of these facilities. And with that, I reserve the balance of my time.